Yeah, good morning. My name's Gary Whittle. I'm a trustee of the Rugby League Museum Society of New Zealand. We're sitting here at Rugby League House today, Beasley Avenue, Penrose. I'm going to be interviewing Kiwi Fern number 18, Lynley Tierney Kiwi. Good morning, Lynley.
Morning, Gary.
Now, you've had a really long history in rugby league. Tell us how it all started.
Wow. Rugby league all started for me when a lot of the boys at my school played rugby league. And I loved watching the game. I loved watching them play, really wanted to be able to play myself. They played for a club called Mount Wellington Warriors. So I'd go along to a couple of games in the weekends when I was supposed to be at athletics. And then got wind of a big game that was happening at Carlo Park. And so I made this plan to go to my athletics meet, enter in the first 3 events, just so that I could get some ribbons to take home to show that I'd been to the event, and then got on my bike and rode to Carlo Park to watch the test match because the Sorensen brothers were playing and they were from the Mount Wellington club. So then at that point I was hooked, absolutely loved the smell of Carlo Park, the atmosphere, and the big hits, and really sort of started trying to pursue how could I ever possibly play this game when I get older. Yeah.
So what was the first year you played, and who did you play for?
So it was a sure given. As soon as Mount Wellington announced that they were going to have a women's team, that was me. I was in, and that was 1992. And then lo and behold, my dreams came true when we played the first women's grand final against Bay Roskill at Carlo Park. Yeah.
I remember that. I was working at Carlo Park in those days.
Yeah.
So this then led on to you were then a member of the first Auckland Vulcans team. How did that come about, and how did you enjoy that phase of your career?
Oh, they spoke about they were going to select the best players from each club at the time to form an Auckland Vulcans team to play a couple of games at Carlo Park. So, of course, hands up, and I was a winger at the time. And, when your name gets called out for those sort of things, you sort of pinch yourself a few times, and then just absolutely loved the entire atmosphere and also being able to represent all of the players that I was playing with at the club, just to, put our little club on the map.
So then in 1995, you were selected for the Auckland Blue team, and there was a tournament in Nelson. As a result of that tournament, what happened to your career?
No, it took off. Absolutely took off. I always pay tribute to Janie Thompson. She was our coach. She had this weird idea that this winger from Mount Wellington could be a loose forward. They wanted more speed around the ruck, and gave me the opportunity to be that person for the team. And we jumped on the train in Auckland at 8 p.m. at night. And arrived in Wellington at 8 a.m. and then did the whole trip across on the ferry, and then a bus for a couple of hours to Nelson or something, and then set up at the local holiday park camp because, everything's not funded. I think on that day too, I remember we left from Carlo Park, and the great Sal Pearson was there to wish us well and wave us on, and then also he'd managed to scrounge up some money so that we had tracksuits and stuff. We went down. There were 14 teams. It was, just fantastic. Women's rugby league was thriving there. Made some friends for life at that tournament. Some really good memories. Some really funny things happened on tour, as you know, that you remember like they were yesterday. And we came away with a win. We won. We ended up playing the other Auckland team in the finals. We won the finals, and then they called out the first ever women's team to tour, and my name popped up in there. And I've always been known for a bit of a hard shell, but I'm sure the tears were flowing on that day. It just meant a lot.
So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's how this great person became Kiwi Fern number 18. Now, the team is picked and you travel to Australia. How many games did you play there? Can you remember?
I played 6 out of the 7. Yeah, I rested on the Canberra game because I had a bit of a hamstring twinge, as you tend to do when you're, one of the sprinters of the team. Yeah. Yeah, so I played 6 of those. Yeah, it's fantastic. The first one, because we pretty much got off the plane, onto the bus, got changed on the bus, and turned up at the fields to play against their President 13 team. And there were a few of the Kiwi boys had come along to watch that game as well. So there was good crowd support that, always bellowing in the background, as everyone knows when you play over in Australia. All you hear is that oi, oi, oi. It's like, oi, stop it. So, yeah, but we had a lot of good Kiwi support over there as well.
What was the excitement of playing in the very first test against Australia?
Yeah, sort of reflect back, and it's quite surreal. It's a momentous moment. It's huge. It's you don't understand at the time where the wave is gonna go, because back then, we were still it's a phase, kind of thing, and where we were very determined to be not just the best rugby league players that we had in New Zealand representing women, but to also make sure that every other little girl that was dreaming about this moment, we'd play hard, we'd win well, we'd be successful in that tour and come home well respected, so that the game could continue to grow. So we all had a really big plan.
And in terms of that test, you scored the winning try in the second half. How surreal was that?
Yeah, I think I blew my boot. So I actually kept that boot because I'd popped out from behind the scrum. It was ended up being one of my signature plays that a coach had taught me, and my boot split on the side. Yeah, the girls used to always give me a hard time because being quite like teenage mum and on a budget and all that sort of stuff, my boots would be almost 80% strapping tape. And it split, and so I remember taking off and my boot was still rotating around my foot. If anybody ever found footage of that, that would be quite funny on a bloopers reel. But no, it was at the time you don't realize it's the winning try, but you just so happy to be playing in such an amazing team that a try always starts from somewhere. I just got to be the person that finished it off.
Of course, that particular tour, Ferns went through undefeated.
Yeah.
So let's come back to New Zealand again. So over the years, I want you to tell me about this. You've represented Auckland Maori, New Zealand Maori and Kiwi Ferns. Just tell us about that career path of your journey.
Every year I was nervous. I think I almost cried after every trial game, thinking that I hadn't done enough. And then always was just really lucky to still get picked for the team. So from 95, I never looked back. We also had the first Māoris team in 95, which was a huge honour for me. Being adopted and knowing that I was part Māori, I still didn't really have that part of my life journey that I understood. So there was an internal drive there and passion that just when you played Māoris, it was different. It was really different. Like, it was always such an honour to be chosen to represent your region and also your country. But then when it came to playing for the Māoris, you felt like you had your entire family with you. So that was I used to watch the Māoris games and that when they play at Carlo Park Pacific Cup, the guys, and then when they said that they were going to start including the girls, I was straight away, whoop, the hands up, and I'm training harder than ever before, making sure that I had a good shot. And then once I got on the field, I made sure I did my job. So, playing Auckland Māoris, always a huge honour, met some beautiful people. The late Kathy Friend became my rugby league nana. She was absolutely beautiful in my journey for Māoris, playing Auckland Māoris and also New Zealand Māoris. With New Zealand Māoris, you'd go to the Māori Nationals, nothing can explain to you what what it's like playing at the Māori Nationals unless you've played it. And when you get picked for the New Zealand Māori side, there was a lot of times that we didn't have games because there was nothing lined up. And then when there was, it was just a momentous occasion. So we got to play against Australia once for an Anzac Test. Back in 95, we played against Samoa, and we played against England when they toured in 98. And for some, we started having a conscious decision of making ourselves available for Māori rather than the Kiwis, which caused a bit of a thing in that. But, we wanted to also be growing the game from both angles because there were so many people that were just, tucked away in smaller communities that were fantastic players, and we wanted them to be able to have the opportunities to get eyes on. And then we look at what the Māori tournaments look like today, and it's just massive. It's huge. So the game has grown and everybody's done a fantastic job.
So what years did you represent New Zealand as a Kiwi Fern?
So I played for the Kiwis, the original, 95.
Yep.
Then again in 97, when the Australians toured here. That was fun. Absolute fun. Ended up playing in the centres in those test matches, one in Wellington, one in Carlisle Park. And then in 2000 when we went over to the World Cup.
Okay. So just in terms of that World Cup, there was no money around in those days. How much money did each member of the team have to raise to get to England?
Look, Christine Panapa and her crew were just amazing with that stuff, right? They had family members sitting outside supermarkets selling raffle tickets to try and make sure that we didn't pay too much. So we had a $2,000 cash had to come through. And then also we were all selling T-shirts and that to our family members for like $20 that all went towards the tour. And even then, it was still a lot of scratching around and, trying to get coins out of anywhere that you could possibly find. Yeah.
How times have changed. The girls of today would not believe that. Which is not their fault because they're growing up in a system now where women's rugby league is as important as the men. So you guys really were the pioneers. Now, I want to talk about the next phase of your life. And I understand that Michael Rawari, Janie Thompson, had a big effect on you. Tell me about that.
Well, they're just big coaches, right? And I know that when we were in the original touring group in 95, part of Janie Thompson's vision was for the game to continue to grow, that we sit our level one coaching, either coaching trainers or management certificates. And so there was a big majority of us that sat the coaching one. And then from there, when I come home from touring that and I'm just helping out at my local club with the kids team, that my son was actually in. I feel sorry, son. Because while we were at training and at the games and stuff, I was always coach, and then afterwards I was mum. So and then from there, when we came back while we were over in England for the 2000 tour, and Michael said to me that he'd be, would I be interested in coaching the Auckland girls? Just furthering my coaching career and stuff. So we had a bit of a chat, and I was up for it because I knew that I was, slowly starting to retire from the game anyway. And so I thought, well, why not? So what do I need to do? Yeah. And basically put my hand up, interviewed, and got the job. And then from there, well, the rest is history, isn't it? So I coached Auckland for the next, so for the year 2001 to 2009, and we were undefeated, never lost a game. And then I also was still playing Auckland Māoris, but then I stepped into player coach and then into coaching them for a while, and put my hand up. I think it was 2008, maybe. I put my hand up for the Kiwi Ferns coaching job, and my hand got smacked. And then 2010, yeah, it came back around, and I applied and got the job to coach the girls through to the 2013 World Cup campaign.
Went to the World Cup. And how did we get on in that World Cup?
We came away with the silver. Yeah, nobody ever wants to come second. But honestly, like we had, it was such a learning curve for the girls. Like a lot of the rest of the world had absolutely taken off in women's football. When we went to over there in 2000, the first tour that we did over there for the World Cup, they already had clubs set up there that were all women, from under sixes all the way through. So it was quite clear that we were very far behind. And then when the NRL started making noises that they were going to back the Australian team later in the late 2000s, we were getting, sort of behind when it came to the development side of that. So, we actually went over there as not expected to make finals. I took, I think, about 10 debutants, and that were new to some were new to the game, some were new to the Kiwi Ferns, and some had never toured before. So we took a big risk, but we had a big plan of how to showcase it so that the women's rugby league could grow to the next stage. So we had a lot of media coverage. A lot of the guys that used to play rugby league and that when I was playing had always said, you girls should have more coverage. And there were a lot of parents that were saying the same thing as well. So we just kept saying, just tell everybody. And then, you just start this bit of a groundswell, and then the media start jumping on board because you have these ones that are now working in media that now want to be growing the women's game as well. So, it was really good sort of, it takes a village moment during that campaign to get us over there.
After 2013, you retired from coaching, so did you do anything else with rugby league at that point?
Just sort of, I don't know what you'd call them, caveats or whatever. It's sort of cameo appearances, maybe. Yeah. I don't know, but yeah. So every now and then, a few coaches would ring me up and that, and just ask me to come down and take a couple of training sessions because they were struggling to sort of get their team up and running or get a bond going or something. There was something missing, and yet they could see that they had this amazing group of players, but, just wanted me to come through and do a couple of sessions.
So what we've just said, your rugby league career as Kiwi Fern number 18 started in 1994 and finished in 2013, which is 20 years. That's a pretty good effort.
It's good fun.
But
and then
it hasn't finished.
The recall. Yeah, so it's quite funny. Like, so I end up, I missed a call from Pat Carthy, amazing soul. Like, honestly, the amount of work that man does, such as yourself, all right? I'd missed the call, then I'd missed another call, then that's ringing again. So I thought he'd rung me by accident, because he's rung me a couple of times to go down and do Jets camps and stuff and that when they're short on coaches. And so I pick up the phone and I'm like, are you actually ringing me? And then so we had a bit of a chat, and then he said, I've got the next opportunity for you, Lynley, and we think you're going to be perfect. And I was like, here we go. Anything for you, Pat? What do you need? And he said, well, we'd like you to come along and be the first woman on the judicial. And I, first of all, I started laughing. I thought it's a bit of a joke because, we all know that me and the referees, myself and the referees, when I was captaining any squads and that, used to always have fun conversations. But yes, I thought, oh, well, like, why not? Because also, such as the likes of Nadine and Louie and Leah and that, we're always looking to make sure that we're putting our hand up and keep those pathways going forward to just break down what always used to be a guy's job to make sure that guys and girls are doing it. So it's, yeah.
I can actually add on to the story. I've been a member of the Auckland Rugby League Judicial since 1981, and I attended the first meeting in 2022, and I didn't really know Lynley. Said, g'day, how are you? She said, fine, and I've been reappointed as chairman last year, and Lynley, it's a pleasure to have you on the committee with your knowledge and how you can see through things. However, It hasn't finished.
I was going to say,
It hasn't
oops,
finished.
I'm in trouble.
In 2023, Lynley was named as one of the Auckland Rugby League Immortals at a function across the road here at the stadium. How did you feel when you were announced that night you came out in front of the crowd?
Oh, just really grateful, I guess, emotional and trying not to be emotional because you know that there's just been so many amazing players that you've played with or coaches that have coached you. Everybody behind the scenes, like, managers do such a hard job. Referees, you've given such a hard time to, and all of that. And then when you get, and so in that case, myself gets showcased. I'm usually I'm quite shy behind the cameras, don't really want to be in the photo kind of thing. And I feel that the recognition goes to everybody that I've ever, had the pleasure of playing or that's put up with me, that's coached me, Yeah, so it was very, very just an amazing, amazing moments that I guess I'll cherish for a very, very long time. And to share the stage with so many legends on that night, it was hard not to just turn into a fangirl and run around with it, getting autographs and photos and stuff that night. Yeah, it was amazing.
I must admit that night I've always got on very well with him. We've always had a soft spot for each other. It was running out of Regan, and I made sure I had a photo taken.
Yeah.
But that was a great night. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. That is the rugby league career of Lynley Tierney Kiwi Fern, number 18. Thank you for coming in today.
Cool. Thanks, Gary.